Asterisk the fluorescent lights hummed softly in the pediatric wing of St. Mary's Hospital, their gentle glow casting long shadows down the quiet hallway. It was well past midnight, and most of the world had settled into sleep, but not David Marshall. The 52-year-old CEO sat hunched forward in an uncomfortable chair beside his son's hospital bed, his usually pristine navy suit wrinkled from 3 days of constant vigil. His dark hair, normally combed back with precision, now fell across his forehead in tired waves. The merger papers that had once seemed so important lay forgotten in his briefcase by the door. 8-year-old Tommy had been unconscious for days now. Ever since the accident, the doctors spoke in careful, measured tones about brain swelling and waiting to see. David had built his entire career on controlling outcomes, on making things happen through sheer determination and strategic thinking. But here, in this sterile room that smelled of antiseptic and quiet hope, none of that mattered. He reached over and gently brushed a strand of hair from Tommy's forehead. The same stubborn cowlick that had defied every attempt at combing since the boy was 2. Tommy looked so small against the white hospital sheets, so fragile. David's ex-wife had flown in from Seattle, but she'd returned to her hotel hours ago, exhausted from her own vigil. It was just father and son now, as it had been for the past 3 years since the divorce. The soft squeak of rubber soles on linoleum announced someone's approach. David looked up to see a young nurse he hadn't met before, maybe in her late 20s, with kind eyes and blonde hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Her scrubs were a gentle blue, the color of a summer sky. There was something different about her presence, a calm energy that seemed to fill the room. Mr. Marshall, she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm Sarah Coleman. I'm working the night shift this week. David nodded, managing a weary smile. Thank you for being so quiet. I know it's past visiting hours, but they're letting me stay. Sarah moved closer to Tommy's bed, her movements careful and reverent. She checked his monitors with practiced efficiency. But David noticed how she paused to look at Tommy's face, really look at him, as if seeing the person beyond the patient. He's a beautiful boy, she said, adjusting his blanket with tender care. Those are some impressive eyelashes, despite everything. David found himself almost smiling. His mother always said he got the best of both of us, but mostly her good looks. Sarah glanced at the family photo on the bedside table, the one from last Christmas morning where Tommy was grinning broadly, gap-toothed and joyful, sitting beneath their small apartment Christmas tree. He looks like he has quite the personality. He does. He did. David's voice caught slightly. He's always been full of life, soccer, video games, terrible jokes that make everyone groan. He trailed off, the weight of speaking about his son in past tense settling heavily between them. Sarah pulled up a second chair, positioning it so she could see both father and son. Tell me about him, she said simply. And so David did, in the soft amber glow of the bedside lamp. He found himself sharing stories he hadn't told in years about Tommy's first steps, taken not toward his mother or father, but toward their golden retriever, Max, about the time Tommy decided to help with dinner and covered the entire kitchen in flour, his small face beaming with pride at his contribution, about Saturday mornings at the park, where Tommy would climb to the very top of the jungle gym and shout, "Look, Dad, I'm the king of the world." Sarah listened with genuine attention, occasionally asking gentle questions that drew out more memories. She had a gift for listening, the kind that made you feel heard rather than simply tolerated. As David talked, he realized he was remembering not just Tommy's milestones, But the quiet moments too, the way Tommy would crawl into his lab during thunderstorms, how he insisted on goodnight hugs that lasted exactly 10 seconds. No more, no less, asterisk you know, Sarah said after a comfortable pause. I've been working with children for 6 years now, and I've learned something that might sound strange to most people. Asterisk David looked at her expectantly. Asterisk sometimes. When children are sleeping deeply like Tommy is, they can still hear us. Their minds are working in ways we don't fully understand, processing and healing. But they need the right voice. The right person to call them back. Asterisk, she stood up. Slowly, moving to Tommy's bedside. Mr. Marshall, may I try something? I've had success with this before, but only if you're comfortable with it. Asterisk David felt a flutter of something he'd almost forgotten. Hope. What do you have in mind? Asterisk Sarah's voice was soft but confident. I can wake your son. Asterisk the words hung in the air between them. Simple yet profound. David studied her face, looking for false confidence or misplaced optimism. Instead, he saw something deeper, a quiet certainty born not of arrogance, but of experience and genuine care. Asterisk how? He asked. Asterisk Sarah smiled gently. Sometimes children respond better to a voice that isn't weighted down with fear or desperation. Don't misunderstand me. Your love for Tommy is beautiful and powerful, but sometimes a neutral voice, combined with specific techniques I've learned, can reach them in a different way. Asterisk, she pulled her chair closer to Tommy's bed. May I? Asterisk David nodded, his heart racing with cautious hope. Asterisk Sarah took Tommy's small hand in both of hers, her touch gentle but purposeful. She began speaking in a voice that was somehow both soft and clear, each word carefully chosen and delivered with intention. Asterisk Tommy, my name is Sarah, and I'm here with your dad. He's been telling me wonderful stories about you, about how you're the king of the jungle gym, and how you tell jokes that make everyone laugh. She paused, her thumb moving gently across the back of his hand. Asterisk, your dad is right here beside you, and he wants you to know that it's okay to come back now. You've been resting and healing, and your body has been doing exactly what it needed to do. But now, it's time to open your eyes and see this beautiful world again. Asterisk for several minutes. Sarah continued speaking, her voice creating a bridge between sleep and waking, between unconsciousness and awareness. She told Tommy about the sunny day waiting outside his window, about how his dad had barely left his side, about how many people were thinking of him and sending him love. Asterisk David watched, hardly daring to breathe, as something almost imperceptible began to change in his son's face. The deep stillness that had characterized the past for days seemed to shift, like the moment just before dawn when darkness begins to soften. Asterisk Tommy's eyelids fluttered. Asterisk David leaned forward, his heart pounding. Asterisk, that's right, sweetheart, Sarah continued, her voice warm with encouragement. Just follow my voice. Follow the sound of love calling you. Asterisk Tommy's eyes opened slowly, unfocused at first, then gradually finding Sarah's face. His small frown creased his brow as he tried to process where he was, who this gentle stranger was. Why everything felt so strange and distant. Asterisk Dad, Tommy's voice was barely a whisper, hoarse from days of silence. Asterisk, I'm here. Buddy, David said, tears streaming down his face as he reached for Tommy's other hand. I'm right here. Asterisk Tommy turned his head slowly toward his father's voice, his eyes clearing as recognition dawned. Dad, what happened? Why do I feel so weird? Asterisk David laughed through his tears, a sound of pure relief and joy. You had an accident, son. But you're okay. You're going to be okay. Asterisk as father and son reconnected. Sarah quietly stepped back, giving them space for their reunion while remaining close enough to monitor Tommy's condition. She watched David helped Tommy take small sips of water as he answered his son's confused questions with infinite patience. As the color slowly returned to Tommy's cheeks, asterisk Dad, Tommy said after a few minutes, his voice getting stronger. Who's the nice lady? She has a really pretty voice. Asterisk David looked up at Sarah, his eyes shining with gratitude so profound it took his breath away. This is Sarah, Tommy. She's the person who helped bring you back to me. Asterisk Sarah moved closer to the bed, her smile radiant. Hello, Tommy. I'm very happy to meet you. Properly this time. Asterisk thank you, Tommy said simply, with the uncomplicated grace that children possess. I heard you talking to me. It made me want to come back. Asterisk over the following days. As Tommy recovered and David gradually returned to something resembling normal life, he found himself changed by the experience. The merger that had once consumed his thoughts seemed less urgent. The long hours at the office were replaced by early dinners and bedtime stories. The success he'd always measured in quarterly reports began to be measured in Tommy's laughter, in quiet Saturday mornings, in the simple miracle of being present for the moments that mattered. Asterisk Sarah had returned to her day shifts, but not before David could properly thank her. He tried to find words adequate to express his gratitude, but she simply smiled and said, sometimes the most important things we do are the smallest ones. I just listened and loved and believed. The miracle was already there, waiting. Asterisk as David tucked Tommy into his own bed weeks later, in their small apartment that suddenly felt like a palace, he thought about Sarah's words, about the power of presence, of listening, of believing in miracles even when everything seems lost. Asterisk Dad, Tommy said sleepily, will you tell me a story? Asterisk of course, buddy, David replied, settling into the chair beside Tommy's bed. What kind of story would you like? Asterisk tell me about the nice nurse who helped me wake up. Tommy said, tell me about Sarah. Asterisk, and so David did, his voice soft and warm in the gentle darkness, weaving a story about kindness and hope, about the unexpected angels who appear in our darkest moments, about the miracle of human connection that can call us back from the edge of despair and remind us that love, quiet, steady, unwavering love, is the most powerful force in the world. Asterisk outside Tommy's window, the city settled into peaceful sleep, and in their small apartment, father and son drifted off together, wrapped in gratitude and the certain knowledge that tomorrow would bring new possibilities, new joys, and the continued blessing of simply being present for each other in this beautiful, fragile, miraculous life.